and fake news.
One year on from the U.S. Capitol riots, and President Joe Biden has accused his
election. He tried to prevent the peaceful transfer of power as a violent mob breached the Capitol. But they failed. They failed.
For more, we have Nick Harper joining us from Washington, D.C. Nick, what stood out for you in Biden's remarks earlier?
Well, Rachel, really there was two main themes during President Biden's speech. Firstly, a sustained and fierce attack against his predecessor, Donald Trump, saying that he bore sole responsibility for the attack 1 year ago. And secondly, a warning that democracy is still under threat, mainly because of the lies that Donald Trump told. Just to look at some of the key moments in the speech, President Biden said that his predecessor had created a web of lies, that he valued power over principle, and that his bruised ego mattered more to him than America's democracy. He said that the rioters had held a dagger to the throat of American democracy and that they were in the service of one man, Donald Trump. But he also warned that there is that continued threat to American democracy. He said that the lies that drove the anger and madness a year ago have not abated. There is this fear from the Democrats that these lies are continuing to be propagated, mainly on social media. And there are many people who feel that the election was not fairly won by President Biden. But they're also worried about voting rights in various Republican-led states where new laws have been introduced to make voting access harder, especially for minority groups in those states.
Nick, President Biden has actually assigned singular responsibility to Donald Trump for the violence a year ago. But what is the state of the investigations into his role in the riot and all of those who played a part in it?
Well, the investigations are really taking two different paths. There's the criminal investigations and the congressional inquiry. On the criminal front that's being spearheaded by the Justice Department, that's looking at the rioters who stormed the building. About 725 have been arrested and prosecuted so far. More than 150 of them have pleaded guilty. Some of them have already been sentenced of up to 5 years in jail. And we're expecting the trials of those who pleaded not guilty to get underway towards the end of February. And then there's the congressional inquiry. Lawmakers have set up a special committee effectively to look at who knew what and when. In other words, did Donald Trump and his top advisors know that the attack on the Capitol was planned before it actually happened? And there is a possibility that that congressional inquiry could lead to criminal charges. It's something that Attorney General Merrick Garland spoke about 24 hours ago, saying that the Justice Department is not ruling out the possibility of criminal charges that could be leveled at the former president or any of his inner circle.
Now, there were clear divisions in the country prior to and as well as after the 2020 elections as Republicans continued to doubt the legitimacy of Biden's presidency. 1 year on, what is the state of the nation and what kind of impact has it had on Biden's presidency?
Well, undoubtedly, the nation, Rachel, is still completely divided. Polls out over the course of the last few days show that a third of Americans don't believe the election was free and fair. More than 70% of Republicans feel that Donald Trump had the election stolen from him. The legitimacy of that election is still being questioned a year on. President Biden has continued to push this idea of trying to unite the nation. But if anything, the speech that he gave just over an hour ago will just drive a wedge further between the Democrats and the Trump-leaning Republicans. And we have seen Republican lawmakers speaking about how they feel the Democrats are politicizing this day. They've said that they're exploiting the anniversary by making speeches like this and holding vigils as they will over the course of the next few hours here on Capitol Hill.
Thanks for that, Nick. That's Nick Harper in Washington, D.C.